they got themselves the choice of side in games 1, 3, and 5. Almost always teams pick blue side for themselves. The Syndra ban, to talk about champion pools, Syndra's another champion that Crown is unable to play. They've had to ban Syndra every single one of the games that they played as well, so you're seeing somewhat of a trade back and forth there, but either way, they're happy to ban it away, not play around it, and there you can see the SKT Zyra ban, knowing that they don't have the way to counterpick it.
Exactly, they have to do it, and these are advantages that cannot be overstated. It's one less powerful champion that they can take off the board. It's something that they are giving away simply through lack of proper preparation for this, and that's not something that you would ever really think about SKT.
There's an adaptation here. They're pinching the support champion pool, but there's also Jace still up right now. And Jace is a champion that has been banned multiple times.
But it's always been banned when Samsung Galaxy are on red side. When Jace is left up, SKT are basically willing to wait on their top lane pick and preserve a counter pick for that. Their final ban is Aurelion Sol here for SKT.
That's 2 picks that they should not have to ban, but they basically do because Samsung prepared better than them. Crown showed, I can play Aurelion Sol, you gotta ban it. They showed, hey, I can play MF, so you can't allow me to have Zyra, and you can't take Zyra because I will counter it. So this is incredible, and the preparation that Samsung has had is really paying off.
This is super good from Samsung because they picked the Olaf, and he has the ability to walk through all crowd control. You can't lock him down, and that's Ashe's big thing, which is the first pick here from SKT, but they also take Viktor away. So now there are effectively 4 champions taken away from the pool of Crown, so he has to dig deep.
He does have to dig deep. It's also worth pointing out, though, as you had mentioned a second ago, the support champion pool being pinched a little bit. Samsung Galaxy, survived that sort of trade back and forth. They said, we'd rather take Olaf. He's a huge, big-ticket jungler. We saw him very early on in the series. He's been banned basically ever since. SKT did not go to take away a jungler, a support themselves. And in fact, Samsung Galaxy seem to not care about that either, as they're looking at a top laner and an AD carry for themselves.
They are.
Yeah, the Poppy top will most likely force a Trundle to come out. And there we go.
Tahm Kench for CoreJJ, a tank support.
And I love this pick because this is something that CoreJJ has done very well on in the past. And what is really unique about Tahm Kench is he can actually eat up an ally. He can also eat opponents, but it takes a preparation. You have to hit them 3 times. And eating the ally out of crowd control is so big. So Ashe, what you want to do, we've talked about it. You shoot out that arrow, you stun up the guy, and now you pick him off. Guess what Tahm Kench does? You shoot out the arrow, you stun him up, he just eats them and runs them to safety, and it completely stops that pick.
Yeah, Tahm Kench, the armored personnel carrier of supports. And I mean, armored is a very durable champion. Again, he's going to bring allies to safety, and it could look very good for him. And of course, the matchup's going to change here. You've now got a tank support on the one side, which means the pool of champions you want to play into that is going to differ as well. You see SKT occasionally hovering Taric, which would be one of those pretty good matchups.
Yeah, and honestly, Samsung has just drafted such a beefy team composition with the Poppy, that's tanky, and in the front line, Olaf is as well. So is the Tahm Kench. So they now have to draft a lot of damage because they need to be able to have enough to carry through these fights. And I think bring a ton of consistent damage from the mid lane. It's almost like an AP marksman, people kind of call it, because you can consistently, non-stop, be shooting out these Twin Fangs. It's this magic damage ability that deals a lot of consistent damage.
Yeah, Cassiopeia was previously banned by Samsung Galaxy on the blue side twice, and then picked once on the red side for them, so they go back to it now because they see that it's the Viktor, and it's really just down the tier list of mid laners since 4 of them have been taken away. It's the one that he has left, and it's the high damage one you were talking about.
And now I really want to see if the Braum gets locked in, because if it does, we have an entirely different sort of context how the bottom lane is going to work. So far this series, we were seeing either mage or sort of supporty support, squishy backline, either focused on dealing a little bit of damage or shielding their opponents. Now, you've got a Tahm Kench on the one side and what looks like a Braum on the other. They're much better at starting fights out and making kills happen, and the way you play around this changes a lot.
Yep, Braum, basically the quintessential defender, stands in front of you with a gigantic shield, and he can take the damage from whatever's coming at you. He can soak it up.
And it's really important because he takes not only reduced damage, but he can stand in front and block out things like the Jhin ultimate, right? Jhin pops up his ult and wants to do massive damage to your kind of squishy carries, and he stands in there with his big shield and reduces and negates most of that damage. So it's very, very strong. He also has a passive which is very unique, where if he does damage to someone, then your teammates can hit them, and once they've been hit 4 times, they actually get stunned. So it's a lot of extra CC.
What's the big thing about these tank supports is you're right that they're very good defenders, but they are also very good at securing kills. You mentioned a second ago that Tahm Kench can eat an opponent. Well, if you get those 2 seconds to hit somebody 3 times, you eat them and you bring them into danger. You drag someone else into what's almost guaranteed to be their own death. Braum can do similar things. He's got an ultimate as well as his passive as well as one of his other active abilities to slow or stun or knock up or all 3 his opponents and set up kills. So there's going to be a lot of fire down there in the bottom lane, and I think it changes the context of how you play that matchup and that entire side of the map by quite a lot.
Certainly does, and it's also, I think, a lot riskier to take these fights because you can't just kind of poke back and forth. The fights can become very committed very quickly. You know, if you go in as Braum and you start fighting up against this Tahm Kench, he can eat you up and spit you backwards, and you can sometimes get committed to a fight that you didn't really want to take. So you have to be very careful picking and choosing your engages because these guys can really make you fight to the death.
So here we go. Game 5 is afoot. The League of Legends 2016 World Championship is going to conclude with this game right here. Who's the best team in the world? Is it SK Telecom T1 in red, or is it Samsung Galaxy, the underdogs in blue, who no one thought they'd get this far? When they made the finals, people said, well, they got an easy bracket. They got an easy quarterfinal. They got an easy semifinal. The real final was the other match that SKT played last weekend. Samsung Galaxy said no. They brought it to Game 5. They said, we are your equals. And with this game, they can prove that they are their betters.
30 seconds until minions
It's been such an incredible run from them. And
absolutely.
I honestly can't believe that we're here in Game 5. And it's so exciting to know that we've made it this far. And really, it's just... I'm kind of at a loss for words.
Right.
It's just shocking. Like, no one expected Samsung to be here, and it's harder to understand how much it means if you have not watched the league for a long time, because SKT have just dominated forever. These guys, they have every time they make the World Finals, they win, right? And yes, they can still win tonight, but people never even challenge them. Usually they're 3-0ing, they're smashing 3-1 at worst, and it's been really close tonight.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people thought that Samsung Galaxy, like we've been talking about, didn't even deserve to be here. They weren't even the 3rd best team in Korea. Thought it was, you know, KT, SKT, and ROX. They ended up getting in, and then they end up surprising over and over again. But at this point, there were some people who thought that this could happen, but to just give some context, if Samsung Galaxy win, we have a thing called Pick'em.
Oh, yeah.
Where you predict the
Predictive
outcome.
brackets.
Millions of people have done the Pick'em. 0 will be correct if Samsung Galaxy win this. Every single person who had done it would have not guessed correctly.
And no one would have had a perfect bracket throughout Worlds. We've already had so many upsets so far in the World Championship. You talk about teams making the quarterfinals, certain teams taking the top spots in their groups, which is something that H2K had done against one of the best teams in the world with Edward Gaming, but it's no longer about those spots. It's about this upset of the making right here. Samsung Galaxy in the blue into Game 5, which already is more than many had expected, but with a nice bottom lane and the chance at winning it all.
It's so much about who can make the big play now. You know, who is going to be the guy to carry the game. And the start can mean so much, even just mentally. If your team gets that first blood, if it's Faker who gets a solo kill, or Crown solo kills Faker, or really any of these big plays, if you can make that play for your team, it can kind of just catapult you towards a victory so much, because I do think that mentality is ridiculously important in these final games. You guys have been playing for hours and hours and hours with very few breaks.
Really nicely played by Trundle. He lands
He
on the
could get
Q.
him
Kill
here.
Faker. One more skill shot. He's got to land the Q. He lands
got it.
This could be a kill, but he's out of mana. Chases in. One more shot and
Poison.
Not going to be enough. Faker slinking away with his life, but a kill in the bottom lane. A gank already came through for Bengi, and it's first blood for SK Telecom.
And that's what we talked about. Crown outplaying Faker, almost got him, but in the end, Faker gets away, and it's first blood for SKT in the bot lane, and it's got to be such a bad feeling for Crown, just inches away from claiming that first blood for himself.
And Bengi on the Lee Sin. Very early visit to the bottom lane and picks himself up a longsword. He's going aggressive. Faker no summoner spell.
And it's the Olaf looking for the damage
the
out,
stun.
but they're going to be able to get
One
the
more.
kill,
Ambition's
and
dead.
it will be a trade. Ambition's going to die, but that is still a positive trade for Samsung Galaxy. Still, it's Faker making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, one of the big things to understand there. Oh, they're actually going for crown here.
Wolf's coming too. This could be a kill in
Oh,
a
he's
curse.
gone.
He's gone. There's nothing he can do about this one. That trade kill is in. Beautiful roam by SKT.
And this is the fast pace that SKT like to set and that we've talked about, where if they can get the game out from underneath Samsung Galaxy super early on, then they can prevent a comeback. Right now, those summoner spells being down, we're going to see even more happen in that mid lane.
I mean, how about Bengi? This guy subs back in and he's off to the races already. 1-0-1. He gets involved in the first blood in the bot lane. He goes and gets that kill in mid lane. And this is the dive that they were looking to set up in. Watch Faker drop the gravity field here. And Ambition just committed too much to that. So that zone that you see, if you stand in it for too long, you get stunned up. And with the turret shooting Ambition, it meant Faker got a return kill that he probably had no right to get.
And this is great as well by Bengi. Flashing in, he lands the slow right there. There's nothing that can be dodged anymore, and it's all guaranteed at this point. Nicely played.
Yeah, they knew that Crown had no summoners from their earlier fight, so that was communicated across the team and allowed them to go for it.
These mid laners actually look angry. I was watching their position for the level 1. Faker was like 12 CS to 4. He's aggressively pushing. He's going for Raptors. He's just being super aggro. And then they blow all their summoner spells. He gets punished for it, but he got a trade there from Crown. And now everybody's coming to this mid lane. Everybody's going to be coming in here. And you have to be on point. If you start dying when these lanes are pushing towards you, or you are not ready for those ganks, then that could be the game there.
Certainly can, and you know, with that Faker death under the turret, the kind of hidden story is that all the minions from the enemy team now die to the turret, and he doesn't get that experience, doesn't get that gold, and that's kind of what put him behind.
Well, it also gives him a really awkward death timer for Viktor, where he doesn't have that 1,250 gold. He backs with about 700, and then he's able to buy like a Doran's ring and boots, and then a refillable potion on top of it. So he's just shy of it, but he has to buy something, so he comes back with that.
Completely suboptimal purchasing, but he has to buy something, so it delays the items that he wants even more. He's now just tracked Bengi running through his own jungle, and you can see the same play that CuVee wanted to do. Oh, doesn't get it quite in time. Duke's totally okay.
Yep, swing and a miss there. Not super impactful, but would have at least made Duke miss a couple CS, so definitely an edge you'd like to take if you can grab it, and so far, very close game. SKT does have those kills, but there has been a little bit of a farm edge over to Samsung, so it's been keeping it relatively close.
Let's see what the next part of the battles are. So both these top laners have used their summoner teleports to get back up to the top lanes. They're buying some items. Pretty standard stuff on both of these sides. The T map for the Trundle allows him to start pushing much, much faster now than his opponent. And now, a bit of a trade up there. Ooh, okay, Bengi forced to jump away. Doesn't really lose too much for that escape.
Yeah, but this is something that I don't know if we've gone over before, but the jungle camps, you can see like little rook-looking pieces on them where they will be, for the buffs, they'll be yellow and gray. If they're gray, it's a minute. It's a minute before they... Ah, that's what it is.
It's
I figured it out.
Yeah.
It's an hourglass.
Yep,
It's
here
a
to
timer.
learn too.
Oh my god. It's like, it looks like a rook, right?
Yeah, it does.
It looks like an hourglass.
Yep.
So yeah, if it's gray, it has a minute, and if it's
Yellow,
if it's yellow,
it's 10
it's
seconds.
10 seconds. 15, I believe. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and it counts down from there. So everybody sees that, though. Your enemies see it, even if they didn't see the camp go down. So everybody knows right now which side of the map Bengi and Ambition were both just on.
It's also key to note that you can't tell if the camp is gone yet until you see someone with that buff or until you do check it out.
Big fight down here, and Bengi trying to take away part of the jungle. Ambition trading back some damage. It looks like Bengi and Faker taking a fair bit of control over that side of the map, and look at that. A really nice trade. And keep in mind, CuVee's teleport is down, so Duke winning a fight that hard makes life very difficult for Samsung's top laner.
Yeah, CuVee made a pretty big mistake there. He actually tried to go back in and stun Duke against the wall, but since he just barely missed the wall, Duke didn't get stunned and massively won this trade. CuVee was just hoping to pin him, hit him a little bit, then walk away and not take that damage, and instead, Duke gets a big trade.
Bengi puts another ward down. He can hop right back out, and he should be able to pretty quickly. Fights for the red buff, gets it away, and I don't know about this one. Has to flash to get out, but now the snipes are there, and Crown's going to pick up that kill. You've got to believe it. The poison, and actually, crucially, Ruler gets the kill, and Bengi did bite up more than he can chew.
Yep, the red buff over to the AD carry. That's the person you wanted on.
That's a really good point, Zirene. That killing blow. Crown could have flashed and taken it himself, but he saves the summoner and gives the red buff to his opponent, or to his AD carry, which will give an advantage over his opponent in that bot lane.
See Crown kind of baiting the ultimate out of Faker. The damage still ticks in pretty well. Crown's down to half HP, and a nice stunning field prevents him from pushing it any farther.
One nice thing about playing this Cassiopeia, though, is when you use that Twin Fang, you can get health back, and you can regen some of this damage that was kind of poured onto him in that little trade with the ultimate from Faker.
Now we recap the game as it stands. 14,000 to 14.5, a small lead for SKT. No Drakes taken so far, of course. Individual matchup-wise, looked like it's still a little bit better for the SCT bottom lane. Of course, they did pick up that kill. Helps quite a bit, of course. Trying to continually shove Ruler in. Maybe gets turned around. The support's battling back and forth. And actually, a little bit gets dodged away. The ulti coming across, though, and you can see
Bengi's here.
Yeah. Blocks away some of the damage. Bengi's around, and Samsung Galaxy able to walk away, but that's 2 ultimates down for SKT.
And that was a pretty big mistake from Bang to actually miss his arrow. He could have waited until the Braum ultimate came out and then shoot the guy when he's already stunned, right? You're able to layer that up, and had he done that properly, I think Bengi could get in there and kick him back and probably get a kill.
Yeah, or at least a summoner stun, right?
Very
some type
yeah.
of advantage. So the misexecution there.
Yeah, but all said and done, SK Telecom able to grab the Cloud Drake for themselves. They had enough control of the bottom lane that nothing could be helped about that one. Maybe a little bit of a jungle steal coming through for Ambition, but definitely would rather be SKT in that case.
Certainly would, and this is something that SKT has really struggled with throughout the series, is doing those dragons and getting that control, and they've always been willing to make the trade for those other objectives, but it hasn't paid off as much as it normally would for them. So they're making a bit of a pivot now, trying to focus more on those early dragons, take them away from Samsung so they can't have that massive advantage if we get to the late game.
Everyone is watching.
We'll see where those advantages end up coming in, because look at this Bengi around in the jungle. Yeah, actually gonna jump in onto this one. A nice kickback, but it's really just a disengage.
Just doing damage.
Yep. And hey, half HP in a Cassiopeia. Well played.
Yeah, she's pretty clever.
Yeah, she's going to heal up, though, so I'm not 100% sure. It just gives a better back to Faker.
Yeah.
Ambition slinks around. He was revealed. Now, as he spots this ward, he's going to be able to kill it off, but
Could simply be something where Bengi was worried that if he didn't kind of get in there and deal a little damage, that Crown would just jump onto him. Because Bengi doesn't have the summoners, and Crown does. So, you know, if Crown hit some of his kind of poison, could have maybe chased him down and done something there. So it could have been something like that. But either way, Ambition kind of getting a little bit aggressive in the jungle on the bot side with Bengi. And they're fighting back and forth here for these camps.
Trading for it, and you can see that the Wolf Smite, the reveal, it shows Ambition coming around, and here comes the attempt at a flank. Tahm Kench's ultimate lets you drag someone across the map, and they're right there on the back line. There's the jump, they've picked off Bang, and he's going to be dropped with this one. A great kill picked up for Ruler. Now the chase in, they want Wolf, and they're going to find him. The kill's going to come through for Crown. What a well-played dive.
Just massive there for Samsung. The first Tahm Kench ultimate, you can eat up your ally, you can port him over onto their team, and they pick up 2 kills there, and will be pushing for this turret. Now they're going to try to TP in mid lane, defend this, so they can get first turret bottom, which remember, gives that bonus gold. So nicely played by CuVee, well communicated among the team. They get the turret, they get the kills, they get it all.
This is incredible from Samsung. Really, really well played here, and they might even have the time to give the gold to Solo.
Not quite, shared with one.
Shared with one person. So when the turret goes down, it has gold that goes to everybody, but also some gold that goes locally to the people who are within a certain range.
And that gets shared and went only to 2 people.
And CuVee even gets back top to defend his turret before too much damage is dealt there. So Samsung really working out on all sides for them. The only kind of big thing right now for SKT is Duke still has his TP. They take away the blue buff, so they will be looking to try to make a play around this. And here it is once again. You can see Tahm Kench, the Abyssal Voyage, coming up, delivering his jungler right on top of them. Not much chance for Bang to get away on this Ashe, because he doesn't have a dash.
Yep, he doesn't even have any way to get away at that point. And then CoreJJ swallows him up and throws him out and does a lot of damage meanwhile, but they don't get anything off of that. That's the big thing, is when you will see plays like that happen, typically the enemy team that you are diving will have a counter play on the opposite side of the map. But what Faker and Bengi did was tried to push mid, and Duke tried to push top, so they were trying to get too much instead of grouping up as 3 and trying to push down a single one.
CuVee lost, I guess, some time. Like, I'm sure that top lane turret lost a bit of HP, but you're absolutely right. Nothing really that tangible has happened. Some damage was dealt. Maybe it pays off later for SKT, but right now, you're right. Not that much was gained. Bengi now running through.
And it's also very critical to note that Samsung, 4 kills, 2 on their AD carry, 2 on their mid laner. We talked about how their composition is relatively low damage. You have essentially 3 tanks and 2 damage dealers. And the fact that these guys are the ones who get all the gold from those kills is actually really, really big. They must be strong in order to actually compete and fight back here.
They might find a little bit more as well. The Tahm comes in.
coming up.
He's got to be a bit careful. Wolf is here. The knockout coming around, and it's going to be CoreJJ kicked around and then killed off. Faker gets himself a kill. But here's the teleport. Here comes the rest of the play. What can be grabbed as Bang is locking down this turret, hitting it with arrow after arrow into the shot, and it's going to be quick runaway by Ruler to get out of this one, but it's SKT who control that side of the map. They get the champion kill, the turret going down as well.
Yep, just have to watch out for CuVee on the opposite side of the map, dealing some damage to this turret, but Poppy, as a tank, doesn't really build any damage.
Yeah, it is tough for her to work away on it, but will at least get some chip damage done and is getting that experience, picking up some minions, so a little bit ahead of Trundle as far as that goes, and that's a good job by her. And at least thankfully for Samsung, they did kind of minimize the losses because it was 5 members of SKT top. They only lost the 1 guy, and that turret probably was eventually going to go down. So TP is now down for Duke. They're back on even terms with that, and they can look to try to find a better fight.
Well, now it's time for CoreJJ to start looking for plays of his own and possibly diving with his ultimate, because his ultimate's like a mini teleport where he brings somebody along. He can give it to anybody. He's hanging around with CuVee.
To jump in. It can be pretty dangerous sometimes because if you're ultimating in, especially as a carry, sometimes Tahm Kench takes you somewhere you don't want to go. Yeah,
he's usually going to bring Ambition or CuVee in and have that tank be right on top of those priority members of the SKT.
Anytime a frog asks you to get in his belly, Zirene, you can't trust him. Gotta be careful.
I thought that's you go every time.
Well, we'll see if we can find any more of those delicious allied champions and find themselves a kill with it.
He's looking.
Oh, nicely played. That ultimate stops on taking damage, and Wolf landing his key right there, and that's going to be another shot as well. That should be Bang getting the kill. Flash heal used, and multiple summoner spells burned for Ruler to get away with this.
He's trying to actually counter there, too. Just throws it out and backs up.
There's still much more lost by the Samsung Galaxy AD carry. So
his ult now, so
there we go. 1, 2, 3. Force not enough to kill, but the teammates are nearby, and that could be enough. Bang has really nowhere to go. I don't think he can get out of this one. Spits the Olaf forward, and it's now going to be too much. Ambition gets the kill. Nicely played by Samsung Galaxy.
And CoreJJ is just so good at this champion. I love watching Masters of Tahm Kench because they're proactive with the ultimate. They don't sit around and wait for something to appear. They actually go and they make these plays happen, and that's the strength of the champion. It's especially in a world where teleport has been nerfed, guys. It's a longer cooldown. It takes longer to channel. And Tahm Kench ultimate, because of that, by comparison, got stronger.
Oh, and it even got reduced in its travel time recently.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's warning time. It's crazy. And this has been one of CoreJJ's best champions for a while now. When he first made his debut on support, it's like, all right, what's this guy even play? Oh, and then he brings out the Tahm Kench against like KT and starts actually winning games.
And this is a very interesting kind of exchange from the previous games because it was always SKT taking the gold lead, taking the turrets and the kills and things like that, and Samsung fighting back with the dragons. And now it's the opposite, and it's CuVee getting dove.
But maybe a couple more kills might come through here on this one. Then Chomp comes out and Duke takes a bite. Looks like bot lane turret is completely under fire, and SKT in a few seconds will have taken down all 3 outer turrets.
And this is something that you should do when something like this happens. Look at the bottom, look at the mini-map. There's nobody in position from Samsung to actually get anything off of that because Ruler was back and Ambition was back. You see them walking out of the base as that is happening. There's no counter that they can make.
Ooh, a knockup's going to land, and quick, the Chomp comes in, the Devour, and he gets away with it all. Nice attempt, 2 ultimates burned by SKT, and a quick press of W, out he goes.
Drops the swag with a little icon flash there. Showing a little Samsung pride. I like it from CoreJJ, and that's exactly why you take this pick of Tahm Kench. Can deny those pickoffs very easily. You know, even just the fact that he saved Crown Summoners is massive because it would have at least been one of those, if not a death.
Definitely the case here, seeing him fight for control though. Look how up Ambition is playing right onto the face of Baker, and he actually had everything that he wanted. The shots come through, but not quite enough. Bullets are going to land. Finally, the body block comes through for Wolf, but still, Faker low on HP and a bit of control over the mid lane for Samsung Galaxy. Can they get much of anything?
And I think that was very patient, very smart play from Ambition, backing off, because had he stayed, he would have died there. He didn't overextend for the kill. He accepts, okay, couldn't kill Faker. I'll back off and I'll live to fight another day.
Yep, the heal comes out from Bang as well, so they get a summoner spell out of it. It's not huge, but it's still something.
It certainly is. And League of Legends is a game of inches. You have to take these little advantages that can sometimes pay dividends later.
Next in the fight, Bang, he won't have that ability. It's going to be a 4-minute cooldown for him, and maybe something does come out of that one. Right now you see the allocation of resources. It's Brown who's kind of defending on this left-hand side of the map towards the bottom, towards his own base, and getting a lot of the gold for himself. They're keeping Ruler near the mid. They know he can start these fights out with the curtain call, with that Jhin ultimate. Hoping they can find one of these kills in SK Telecom here. SKT have actually grabbed themselves 2 Cloud Drakes and a 3rd is spawning. This is actually going to make for some interesting circumstances. Cloud Drakes make you run faster when you're outside of combat, and they're going to stack up 3 of those buffs. They will be ridiculously quick getting around the map.
It's also really, really cool because they're playing a pick comp, right? They're already playing this kind of engaged comp where they have the Ashe arrow and they have the Braum ultimate and these follow-up and Lee Sin looking for kicks and stuff. And having that extra mobility means that you can get in there faster and sometimes catch someone where you wouldn't otherwise be able to.
And it's such a small thing as well, but it's hard to notice when you're playing because you don't get the other where you're like, oh, I didn't catch him because I didn't have these, because you have them, right? Yep. You have no comparison. So you run around the map faster, and you'll get to places a little bit sooner. And this game becomes a lot about rotations, which is going from one lane to the other before the enemy, and trying to make sure that you can get these turrets down.
And that's a great point, you know, speaking about the rotations, because as someone like Duke, who's going to be in the side lane, split pushing, he has to move around the map very quickly, not get caught, be in the right place at the right time. And a lot of that requires a lot of walking, which those Cloud Drakes are actually very, very good for. You know, not being able to get caught by Ambition, who's going to be very quick and looking for those kind of chase downs, is going to be huge.
So he's going to find those openings right now. You've got Wolf in a slightly precarious situation, but he's just fine with that one. Takes an axe to the face, blocks with the shield. Doesn't even take damage for that one. Blue buff transferred over to Faker. That's perfect for him. He's going to have that for the next couple of minutes and feel good about this. And the teams once again are squaring off, trying to control over the mid lane. Samsung Galaxy have yet to take down that turret. SKT's done a great job of defending it.
It's interesting to me, Phreak, you know, the door greater than the axe there. You would think that it seems a little bit strange, you know? You would think that the axe would be the one winning out over the door.
Depends what the door is made of
That's
course,
true.
right?
And Braum is pretty jacked, so it could be you know, like a stone door or something.
Well, I mean, in the lore of Braum, actually, it is an unbreakable door.
There you go.
It's so unbreakable that it was a door on a mountain, and he punched the door, he couldn't break it, so he punches through the mountain instead to get inside.
There was a child trapped
like I
behind.
said, pretty jacked.
Exactly. Very strong. Punches through a mountain and saves the child.
So the door's better than a mountain. So is the axe gonna beat a mountain? I don't think so.
Guess not.
Uh-oh. Well, unlucky that he picked Olaf first pick then, because what are you going to chop through in this case? Not a lot of wood left in this one, so I don't know. I don't think you can find the lumber.
There's no Maokai.
There, yeah, there's no trees to kill. Ashe arrow comes in and actually hits the armor personnel carrier.
Yeah,
Down to half HP. He's got to be a bit careful. Flashes away.
Ooh.
Could go down. Won't quite do so. Running for dear life. Nearly out of HP. Then now the re-engage. Curtain call comes in. Looking for the shots, but it's only hitting Duke in the front line. And the last 2 miss anyway. No kills picked up. Just a trade of cooldowns.
Yeah, not too bad there for Samsung. And all jokes aside, it's actually not bad to hit the Tahm Kench, because if you hit someone else, he will eat them and spit them away to safety. But if you hit the Tahm Kench, you can either kill him off or force summoners, as they did there. So they get the flash from CoreJJ, and that's pretty well played there by SKT.
Yeah, I'm actually unsure if Bengi meant to kick Ruler back, because that kick would have been an execute on CoreJJ. CoreJJ flashed away right after Bengi had taken the second part of his Q where he closes the distance. So I think he may have misclicked there and hit Ruler instead.
And that's a tough call to make, right? Looking for the bigger prize, trying to take down this marksman and hoping that you can do that and perhaps get a really big advantage. You know, maybe even an early Baron or something if you can take down some key members.
And it's always tight as well, because one of the things with Tahm Kench is one of his abilities, basically, as he takes damage, Hold on, it's Viktor getting caught up there, and it's going to be a lot of damage blowing right into his face, turns it back out of Ruler, but can't quite get it, and that's the kill picked off. Out they go, away from the Chaos Storm, but the teleport's already in. Duke now caught up in the front line, and Samsung Galaxy looking to get a whole lot more. The stun only lands on a support, which means the damage dealers are free to chase in. Another slow onto Duke, the tackle into the sidewall, well played by CuVee, and CoreJJ gets himself the kill, now onto the mid lane turret.
And how much more can they get? Because remember, Cassiopeia does so much damage. You can kill off Baron very quickly. Do they dare go for it? Looks like they're going to take the safer play and deny one of these Cloud Drakes. So you have to remember, we talked about how nice it is if SKT can get 3. Now it's the difference of 2 to 1 instead of 3 to 0. So the movement speed differential is much smaller, and that's why this is a big win.
That's crazy that they didn't actually go for the Baron here. They have control of
I
that
thought they
area.
would've.
You see on the minimap that they had pink wards all throughout that, but this is a Tahm Kench flank after a root. Comes up. Yep, there it is from behind, and he's just getting completely kind of sheepdogged this way, herded this way.
And you know what it really tells me about Samsung? It tells me the confidence that they're gaining. I think that Samsung game 1 or game 2, go for the Baron, make that risky play. They're saying, you know what? We can beat SKT. We don't need to take a risk. We don't need to throw it to a smite that Bengi can maybe steal. We'll take the dragon. We'll beat these guys again.
Yeah, they won from behind multiple times already. So now they have an advantage. What does the game look like then? And I do think that their champions actually scale quite a bit better into that late game. The Olaf is going to do a little bit more in terms of damage than the Lee Sin, can really put pressure on Bang. The Cassiopeia outscales the Viktor, arguably. You know, they're both actually become powerhouses. So I think Samsung are actually kind of comfortable with that late game, especially with 3 tanks.
Yeah.
3 tanks always feels good.
I think it's always going to come down in the late game with these comps to who plays it better. But I agree. They're super strong in the late game. I think that SKT is very strong too, and will have at least a side lane advantage of Duke kind of beating up on CuVee. But that said, they're so confident in their skill. They're so confident in what they've been able to accomplish in these last 2 games.
And even just the point you brought up a second ago, Zirene, about taking a less risky plays, one of the things I love about the game is the risk assessment these teams put themselves in. They say, do we go for maybe a 70-30 play going for Baron? It could backfire, Bengi could steal it. Or do we take the 100% lower advantage of just going for the Cloud Drake? And you've got to make that choice based on how well you think you're going to be doing at winning the game.
And teams will always evaluate it differently as well.
They will.
Right? And that's what I love, is there's some really aggressive teams, and then there's some ones that are really reserved.
And even just players among the teams. When you look at, some players are just always willing to make those plays, and Ambition is going to have to get out of there.
Not too big of a problem. Olaf pretty good at running away from things, especially with the Tahm Kench on your team. But Samsung Galaxy find a slow on the Wolf. This might be a fight they're looking for. 2 slows. Actually claims a 2-man axe. A nice kickback, and Ambition did not ulti in time. If he had popped it, it wouldn't have been a knockback, but it also just might not have been a kill. Bengi fighting back for ward control, getting the wards out of his own jungle and putting some of his own down inside the Baron pit, knowing that Samsung cannot sneak that objective away.
They were looking at Crown. Crown is actually pretty exposed here for a second. Had SKT realized that, they probably would have gone for him, because he was up there without really any protection, and that's something that's kind of risky from Crown. But it's like you talked about, risk assessment. What is the chance that they go for me if I go kill this minion wave? You know, he's saying, hey, it's probably pretty low, and in this case he was right. But those decisions sometimes can decide series.
Especially when he has no flash as well. Clearing a minion wave is quite risky. He does have the ghost still available, but that's something that's really kind of, you react to the arrow coming at you a little bit slower. You have to be quite good.
Well, the map has somewhat reset here. They've been fighting for vision back and forth. And he's going to have to play a little bit back. Yeah, he's going to be fine. Ooh, that was actually pretty close. CuVee nearly could have secured maybe a flash force if he had hit his abilities quite in time, but Bengi was quick enough to get away with it all.
Yeah, you actually heard the start of the stunning animation from Poppy, where he was charging at him, but he got out just fast enough that it didn't actually push his model at all into a wall.
Yeah, it's about a 1/10 of a second away from making Bengi have to burn flash to get out instead of just simply hopping to a ward, which he had done right there. And it would have been a very big difference. So, CoreJJ going to hit the Baron and make it look like they're doing that objective. It's not what's actually happening, though.
Certainly is not, and I think the fact that Ambition is there throwing an axe to them kind of gives it away a little bit. But you know, it is back and forth, the control over this Baron, and it's really trying to get SKT to expend all their resources. Things like the hawk shot that you just saw fly over the pit is something that Ashe can use to scout out these abilities and scout out these locations. And if they can get through everything that SKT has to offer to check out that pit, then they can start it up and they can really go for those more aggressive moves.
Duke continuing his split push progress down here. Lets the minions die to the turret. He's actually looking to make the flank play happen. Braum again, CuVee beats him off at the pass. And, well, Duke's going to feel okay about that fight, but still does lose more HP. Even still, slows CuVee down. And even though they didn't really get any kills back or forth, that is several hundred gold that CuVee missed out on by not being bot lane when it was pushed into his turret.
That was a clever play from Duke, just anticipating that CuVee would take that path and kind of blocking him off. And yeah, those little advantages. And Duke has been doing a pretty good job of that so far. Just has the one death to his name. Hasn't really been completely dominating these kind of side lanes as the Trundle and the Poppy that you would sometimes hope that your Trundle would be able to accomplish. But, you know, he's been solid.
Yeah, and when CuVee is a good enough player to not die solo against him in a matchup, then you really have to go all in on the split push or just abandon it kind of every now and then, because Duke, I feel like these team fights, have we seen in this series him actually get anything off of split pushing during a team fight? It hasn't happened. He's been answered quite effectively. I think maybe even one time he got a turret. I don't even know.
Yeah, he certainly picked up a couple turrets here and there, but it has not been the story of any games where you see, oh my god, this Trundle's unstoppable, he's killing everything, taking down turrets left and right. It has never been like that.
In some fights, so they really want him in those fights is how it seems to be going here. Plus, now CuVee is completely tanked up. You aren't really going to kill him ever unless you're blowing your ultimate on him, and you're only really doing that in a fight.
It's going to be really unlikely to happen that way. Ward control again, still the battle. Much like in the very first game of the series, it's a bit of a lull in the mid-game as teams fight to control Baron Nashor in the area around it enough that no one can get in on them. But it's Samsung Galaxy now feel like the team who is winning at least by a little bit, and they're the one who are first to the play, opening up on the streak a little bit.
And it's another dragon. This one's going to be contested, I would imagine, but look at this. This is Wolf dropping that shield, and he is going to be able to block a lot of the damage. The first shot that actually hits it is completely negated, stops all the damage. Those ones after are reduced damage, but not completely stopped.
And even still, the mechanics of Jhin's ultimate, it does more damage.
Run down here.
Oh, he is getting run down. He's got to run for dear life at this point. Feels safe enough, then gets kicked back into the team. Now he's got to retreat. Is he going to get carried around? No, he's fine just to run away with it all. But it's now almost a 5v4, and that's going to be burnt down quickly. Nicely done by SKT, grabbing the Infernal Drake. And now the Ashe is going to land, and it's time for CoreJJ to run for dear life, bringing his teammate to safety.
And once again, the power of the Tahm Kench there saves his mid laner, actually expends his summoner, so Crown does not have to expend one, knowing his is less valuable, but Ambition there getting caught costs them the dragon.
Yeah, and you'll see this happen from Tahm Kench's where they'll blow their summoner spell so that their mid laner or AD carry, whoever, doesn't have to blow theirs. And they'll even buy QSS, which is not typically a support item. You will buy it on your carries to get rid of a crowd control effect on them, a disable, but he'll buy it so he can basically use it for somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, you can get out of that Ashe arrow, for example, and then eat someone else who's CC'd by something else. So it is definitely very nice. I think in this game he'll probably build towards a locket first.
Yes.
But we could see that later in the game. And just the locket is essentially that item that Wolf has already completed. It's this little kind of orange crest. It almost looks like a bird or something, or a phoenix spreading its wings.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what it is.
It's the Iron Solari. If you play Leona, the skin, the shield.
Yeah.
It's a big iron bird.
It's a lore-based item, you're right, an iron bird. And essentially it gives an aura of magic resist and an activatable shield to all nearby teammates. It's a great defensive buy. Helps your entire team become more durable, and it's almost mandatory in a game. Now another attempt at the play. The curtain call lands 3 of the bullets, and you can just see it just doesn't do enough damage to a tank support like Wolf is playing.
And now SKT are just playing keep away, but keep vision of the Baron, and they'll be able to do that with the Scuttle Crab that they killed, which is the little jungle creep that goes back and forth in the river, and then when you kill it, it becomes this little thing here.
They're actually sneaky. This is so smart.
Super
so
slick.
What they're doing here, you can see that the Scuttle Crab was killed. Their opponents have vision on the outside,
nice.
but they ulted into the pit, sneaking around. It does get spotted out by Bang, but still is very clever to try.
Shot used to reveal that, nicely played. And uh-oh, the re-engage looking towards Ambition, gets pulled in, but no damage is dealt on the top of that one. Just a trade of health bars, but everyone's going to live through this.
Still love the attempt there. Very clever.
Absolutely smart. But even equally smart by Bang to say, hold on a second, I heard the Tahm Kench ultimate, let me pop this hawk shot.
Yep. And SKT, they were trying to play keep away because they have teleport advantage over CuVee with Duke. So Duke, if they hadn't attempted that on Samsung Galaxy side, he would have been able to split push bottom, push it all the way to the turret with the wave clear he has over the Poppy, and possibly do some damage to it. But because Samsung do that, they stop that from happening. So it's a good way to pull SKT away from the bottom side of the map.
Another battle, the one-on-one between the two huge tanks. CuVee doesn't even want to battle him until the minion wave is there to be killed. He's doing a little bit with his spells.
Yeah, he's just going to kind of drop that Q, which is that little pop-up of damage, and try to thin out the mini wave as best as he possibly can. He cares more about killing the minions than dealing with the Trundle, to be honest.
Yep.
And the reason he cares about that is the Trundle can't come and kill his turrets if he has no minions.
Can't do that, but they're going to fight for wards over in the Baron Pit once again. It's the perennial battle you see here, especially for professional League of Legends.
He's going to look for a pick.
Looking for the play. Faker ghosting in. I don't know if he's going to find much of anything, but it does give them map control. And now they've looked into CoreJJ, the layer of crowd control, and they're going to kick him back. They're going to pick him off. Nicely played there. SKT even forcing the cancel of the teleport. So CuVee is trapped in the bottom side of the map now.
And they went after CoreJJ. Originally, they got his flash, and he saved Crown's flash, but they revisit, and they pick out CoreJJ, and they get that kill on him.
And it is a nice kill, but unless they can get something off of it, it's not a big deal to kill off that support. You know, he doesn't need that time out on the map, farming up the gold. So it's up to SKT to get something else here, whether it's killing off the wards around Baron, establishing vision control, taking an objective. But so far, really all it's been is a little bit of a vision.
Yeah, he's trying to battle for some of these wards right here. You see Bengi running up just to kill one off and actually going to get maybe a little bit tackled. Now he can jump over the wall, times it out probably pretty properly, but you can see Ambition taking that Scuttle Crab. You cannot despawn that. It lasts the full minute no matter what you do, which means that even if SKT do take ward control, they've got a minute of safety, basically.
And that Scuttle Crab is just killing off that little creature that kind of walks back and forth, looks like a bug in the river. And if you do kill that, it's that pocket of vision. It doesn't show you inside the Baron Pit, but you can see people enter the Baron Pit.
Yeah, it also gives a little bit of movement speed if you walk over it, only to the team that had killed it. So it allows you to traverse the river a little bit faster as well.
Now the attempt in, this is not good for Crown, running out of health rapidly, trying to get away from the Chaos Storm, and gets chomped up just to keep him alive for now. Ambition, low on HP, also got burned down a little bit. Very low health bars on Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, this is scary for Samsung now because they are chunked out. Ambition has no ultimate, no ghost. Crown has no ghost, and SKT can kind of threaten moving towards the Baron.
Yeah, and there's no teleport as well on CuVee, so Duke can go to whatever part of the map that he wants and put pressure on the bottom side. Especially when there's a Drake coming up as well, and it will be the Elder Drake soon.
Neither Elder Dragon is going to be insane. Samsung's going to be weaker. SKT is going to be reasonably strong, and we'll see which way they can play for it. Another curtain call comes up. Duke runs right in to tank it all, but he will take some damage because of this, and it gives a bit of time for Samsung Galaxy to get some chips down on this mid lane 2-2 turret, down to about 2/3. The re-engage the stun. Here comes Bengi, looking for a bit to do, and he's going to find the CC. They're going to pick off Ambition. One freeze to SKT. The trade back, though, as Bengi loses his life, and a nice knockback out of CuVee on the Poppy, but he's got to flash away. So much damage coming out of Bang on that Ashe.
Crown still has his ultimate. He has held that, and if they are facing Crown when he casts that, they're going to get stunned, so they have to be careful about chasing too far and potentially getting that turnaround.
And if SKT had 3 Cloud Drakes, that pillar would have probably put all of Samsung on the other side of it. They would have been able to catch up and make that fight last a little bit longer. The difference in move speed actually could have been quite a lot, but doesn't quite trap the team along with it. But actually Bang, hit up a little bit. That was a nice deadly flourish. Ruler, too far forward, definitely. Now here comes the dive, looking to pick him off. It will be CoreJJ losing his life for Ruler's mistake.
And you keep thinking, does Faker still have ultimate? He killed people. Yeah, he still has that. He holds on to it so long, and Bang is about to have his up again.
And that was just such a massive mistake from Ruler. Just wandered into the team, and honestly could be the straw that breaks the camel's back here, and potentially cost them the whole championship as they're going over on the Baron. This could be massive.
It's going to be a difficult one. Baron Asher already picked off, and now Samsung wishes they weren't even here. Crown still gets hit by the sun. He's going to die for this one. The ulti actually buys a little bit of time, but the pillar is there, and there's the kill picked up. SKT with another one.
And yeah, you were saying this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. They get to go to Elder Dragon immediately afterward on SKT's side.
I think Ruler just threw the game, and that was just such a big mistake that led to this catastrophe that is what's happening right now. I mean, he gets saved, yes, but CoreJJ has to give up his life. Ruler spends his summoners, then Crown dies, they get the Baron, they're going to take Elder, and the list goes on and on.
Yep. This is going to be almost no chance of a steal. Olaf cannot get over walls. Not going to find the steal. Red team has slain the Dragon. SK Telecom T1 have 2 minutes of an obscene power play.
So Ruler was trying to kind of salvage a situation where they were caught, and to be honest, his rookie was showing there for a bit. That was a big mistake, and he gave up so much. Crown actually flashes here in line with the arrow and still gets stunned by it. So then the flash comes out from Wolf to follow it up and get another stun here, and that's what ends up sealing his fate. So Ruler kind of sold out his team there.
Yeah, and Crown definitely would have wanted to try to flash over the wall, but maybe a mistake there from him. Either way, Samsung's up against it now. They're going to have to hang on for the 2 minutes, hope that that Elder Dragon buff will expire, and then attempt to hold off against the even longer Barret.
It's definitely going to be difficult. You're seeing chips now down to the middle lane, 2-2 turret. That Baron buffed up cannon minion artillery finally does go down, though. A little bit of damage dealt, but another wave is there. The reinforcement already here for SKT, and you can see Samsung Galaxy back right off. They know they cannot contest this 5-on-5. Meanwhile, Duke on the split push gets another one. More gold into the pockets of SKT.
And this is where Samsung are going to have to decide, do we make a stand or do we just give up the inhibitor? Because it's going to be a tough choice and one that's going to have massive impact on the rest of the game.
And this is where Duke can really just destroy CuVee because he has 190 true damage, I believe is what it is. 180 true damage.
Yep.
That's a damage over time to him. So resistances don't matter. And now he has Baron buffed up minions too. Just constantly pushes in, and now 2 people have to go up to answer, and then you get chip damage mid, you go back and forth, and this is what we were talking about when we said rotations.
Rotations are happening, the turrets are getting lower and lower and lower. The siege near the mid lane getting more damage in.
Holding that shot.
Yeah, who's he gonna hit? There you go. And actually Wolf chunk down to half is not unreasonable, so pretty decent damage coming out of this one, and Samsung Galaxy will hold onto the turret for now.
And that's going to be the Elder down.
They did a pretty admirable job holding on, just giving up the 2 outers so far. SKT likely could still go bot and take another outer, but I'm very impressed with that. Still, that said, this is minimizing damage. It's not completely stopping the damage. They're down 7,000 gold.
Oh, trying to make a play on the top side of the map.
And of course Duke took flash away, but it's just that. You saw how little SKT had to use in their last fight, so all those cooldowns are available. That flash, Duke is fine to burn that.
And take a look at Faker's items and compare them to Crown right now. Faker is a full 6-item Viktor right now. He has a lot more farm. He has the additional kills as well as the extra gold from the global objectives, and he is massively powerful at this point in the game.
Yeah, I will add a caveat though. Cassiopeias cannot buy boots,
which are cheaper items typically.
Exactly.
It is fair to say.
So that basically you can just pretend that that blasting wand is one. So he's a whole item behind Faker right now. But late game, he gets to have more ability power because he has an extra item slot later.
Yeah, for what it's worth, actually, items are categorized by cost. Inside is the most expensive, and towards the outside is the least expensive. Faker's 3rd most expensive item is Crown's most expensive item. So even the cost of the things are showing you how much more Faker has in this game.
Yeah, and he's actually 4,000 gold ahead of his opponent, which is pretty massive. That's more than the entire death cap, the most expensive item in the game, I believe, or at least tied for it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Trinity's up there, right?
Yeah, Trinity's right there with it.
Either way, individual gold counts now shown on your screen. In parentheses is their total gold on an individual level, and you're going to see pretty much down the line, SKT are more rich. They've got more items, and because their builds are not capped out, those leads matter a whole heck of a lot.
Certainly do, and it's up to Samsung now to delay. The Baron buff has expired, thankfully for them, and they really did a great job of just losing those 2 turrets. But will SKT be able to kind of take all that extra gold that they got from this and use that to win the game?
There's a good chance this one. They're going to knock down bottom lane, tier 2. That's 6 turrets down. SK Telecom T1 looking to prevent the reverse sweep and close out the series with this one, win the World Championship that they were, in some sense, supposed to. Great play, great players, and in a few minutes they might be able to close one out. But Samsung Galaxy never wants to say die.
No, and we've seen a lot of really long games in this series. It's been very hard for SKT to close out games, which is uncharacteristic for them. But they have struggled against Samsung, who has just been so good at holding on despite mistakes here and there from them. They seem to be able to just stick around and kind of never say die.
You know, it's a really interesting thing as well, is that these teams are probably the most familiar with each other in the tournament because you scrim across the bracket and you only meet in the finals. So they were most likely scrimming during quarters, during semis, and then leading up to this. Yeah. So you can tell that like Samsung has gotten really damn good, but is it good enough to beat SKT? It's still up in question, and they keep having these deficits. that have to be made up by miracle plays.
Certainly, and thankfully for them, at least Crown, starting to kind of close that item deficit aspect of the Void Staff. You talked about it earlier, Zirene. It punches through a lot of this magic resistance that his opponents have. So Duke and Bengi specifically have a lot of that magic resistance and are going to take massively less damage because of that. So getting that Void Staff is going to increase his DPS to that front line a lot higher. And when you can kill off the front line, the whole team can start to collapse. If your tanks last longer than their tanks, you are generally going to win the fight.
Absolutely the case. You just can't really burn through these champions. It's going to be real difficult for Samsung Galaxy to do this. The back line is so threatening from SK Telecom T1 here, looking to make that next big play. Baron Nashor spawns up in 30 seconds, and yeah, they got 3 turret kills with pretty much their Baron buff, and they said that was good enough for us. We grew the gold lead. Now let's play the vision game once again. You can see them sweeping out the wards, killing them off, and once again darkening the map for Samsung Galaxy, making any sort of choices and moves so difficult here for the blue team.
Yep, and now they're choking out the vision from the Baron area. They have no vision there for Samsung, and they only have 1 blue trinket now that's on Ruler.
Well, we do have Duke once again pushing in the bot lane. It's kind of this ticking time bomb where eventually someone has to respond, and it will be CuVee, as always, running down there to try to pick up that farm and try to stop this. But SKT could look to try to force at least the teleport out. Oh, and they caught Ambition.
Oh, Ambition's running for dear life. He can't be kicked back. He popped the ultimate already, but that will now be a 1 minute long cooldown. All right, that is again still picked up by SKT.
And he's going to have to TP in.
Yeah. This also means that if Ambition walks up, he can get kicked right out.
Wolf comes in, there's the pickup. Nicely done, SKT pick up the Baron, and now they're going to also take down Ambition. He's going to pop the Guardian Angel, and he will be right back to die. There's nothing you can do about this one. SKT pick up Baron and the kill.
And look at Duke, he's trying to delay here on the side, trying to hold them in place, but so well done by SKT. They force out the teleport. They get the ultimate from Ambition, which made him immune to crowd control, and then they CC him up afterwards when he comes to check the Baron, kill him off, take the Baron.
And all SKT needed to prompt that was getting the ultimate out of Ambition.
Yeah.
You think about how Samsung Galaxy, they had an opportunity to do Baron earlier, and they said, we're going Cloud Drake, right? That's the difference between these two teams, is SKT, they know their limits and know when to take it with an advantage.
And now the question is, where does Samsung make their stand? Where do they choose to fight? 1 inhibitor already down. The first one has been cracked. And will they try to fight for number 2?
I don't know. It's going to be difficult. Their jungler is still dead. A bit of an engage comes in for Bengi, but it's only onto the tank. But there's the catch out. Thankfully, the Devour keeps them safe for now, and Ruler's going to be okay, but the turret is down, and CuVee going to lose the Guardian Angel. Nicely played by Faker. Will there be more? It looks pretty likely. They're going to go on to the inhibitor. That is going to be inhibitor number 2 taken down. SKT have all the tools they need to win this one in about 1 minute's time.
They are just looking so good. It's clinical ever since that mistake from Ruler in the mid lane. They have just snowballed this lead. They crack open the base, and now they only have 1 more inhibitor to take down to really close this out. And if they win a fight, they don't even need to necessarily go for that. They could just walk down mid lane, walk down top lane, and potentially end the game.
Yep. And even though Samsung Galaxy had that comeback win in Game 3, this is an even bigger comeback than that. Their chances are incredibly slim. It is not impossible. We've seen bigger comebacks, at points in League of Legends history, but this is a now monumental task.
But against SKT, it has been undone. It has never been done.
Yeah.
Not they're undone, but it has never been done before.
I also really like this purchase from Wolf. He grabs the ZZ Rock portal, so he's going to drop this and put even more minion pressure on top of the already massive amount that they do have going in. So very interested to see where he actually places it.
I think he puts the bottom, right?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, there it is. It's actually in the bush right by the mid lane. So that is going to make it push even more heavily towards Samsung. And since they can't come out and kill this portal that spawns these little kind of alien minions, it makes it even tougher for them to deal with this split push. You can see Duke is pushing in the top lane. They're getting ready to siege the bot lane. Well, and the next fight could be the last.
Yeah, CuVee's going to go and catch that out.
He's going to take a lot of damage for that. And the bait worked pretty well. Has the flash to get away from that one. I would take that trade every day of the week. Devour comes in, brings him to safety, but SKT are ready to keep pushing.
Exactly, they push them off of the turret. Now they can escort super minions into the base and then walk down towards this. You can see Bang ready to just demolish this turret, and look at that. So many minions on the top side.
And now
Here they
SKT
go.
played it perfectly. They're on the bottom inhibitor, the last one alive. Will Samsung decide to fight?
That's the turret going down. The inhibitor now itself is exposed, and it's going to drop in about 2 seconds time. All 3 inhibitors have been picked off now by SK Telecom T1. They have everything they need. The minions inside the base, the turrets down below half HP, at least one of them is. But SKT actually are going to choose to play a bit of a slower game. They're backing off to go for the Elder Dragon instead. Now that will give some time for Samsung Galaxy to kill the minions in their base, get a little bit more golden experience, but this Elder Dragon is definitely worth more.
It certainly will, but the Elder Dragon is huge. All of that true damage burn given over to them. And the fact that they're up, 14,000, 15,000 gold means everyone will be capping out their item builds, basing, buying up elixirs, which give you that extra little bit of damage. Only lasts a couple of minutes, but they'll be able to afford those, and they will wait for all the super minions to be pushing in from every side. And it's going to be up to Samsung to look for a miracle fight. They can't wait for SKT to push in, or they will get overwhelmed by the minions. They must choose their moment and go forward and take a fight and win or lose.
And we are approaching that point in time where people are hitting 6 items on both sides. You don't get any stronger than that. The gold starts meaning less and less, but then it's the dragons. It's what you
Here
have
goes
buff-wise.
SKT.
That arrow could have been a game-winning play. Now it's CuVee getting jumped on down to half HP.
Crown's
but
not
it's not
there.
going to mean a whole lot. And yeah, Crown's going to join this fight at some point. Faker puts on the ultimate. He's got a lot of damage. Where's the fight going to be? A great escape. Crown does not get picked up just yet by Bengi, but the kill still comes through on the CuVee. 1 for 0, 2 for 0. SKT starting to dismantle everybody now on the roster. 5 versus 2 now on the field, and there's just nothing left. The curtain call, so suitably named, coming in now for the AD carry. It's not going to mean enough. The turrets are falling, and despite the 2 wins that Samsung had brought out, it is SK Telecom T1 winning their 3rd World Championship.
An absolutely incredible run for Samsung, making it here all the way to the finals, Game 5, but it's SKT, the best team in League of Legends history. They do it again here tonight, cementing themselves as a dynasty, and Faker, once again, removes all doubt. This guy is the best player in the world, carrying the game on Viktor, Game 5 when it counted. Just incredible.
Every time his throne is challenged, he ends up coming out on top again as the unkillable Demon King.
He definitely is, and I've got to hand it to a player that he feels maligned, I feel like. Third summoner spell. He doesn't even count as a full player. He's one of the buttons on Faker's keyboard. But Bengi, despite SKT narrowly winning their semifinal and their final, 3-2 both times, individually 6-1 in those matches.
And Bengi has another nickname though, the Jungle. He is the jungle. He mastered the jungle. He is going to own you in the jungle, and he did that again for the 3rd time in the World Championship Finals.
It's got to be such a good feeling for these guys. I mean, probably a lot closer than they thought it was going to be. Came right down to the wire, but in the end, they get the win, and that's all that really matters. But we were treated to such amazing games tonight. 5 full games. The series went the distance, and these guys poured their hearts out. They gave it their all. We had some incredibly long games, and it took so much mental fortitude for SKT.
We've got lots of fun things out here at LA Live where we're casting. Confetti just blew up all over the fans. That was pretty great. So you got to look inside the stadium as well. We've got celebrations in all the locations there. The Summoners Cup, though, it is SKT's to own another year. We've only had
champions.
Yeah.
Get it again. The first time ever to have a defending champion qualify for Worlds.
Well, right. That was one of the curses. If you won Worlds, you did not qualify again for the next year. Finally broken by SKT, who then just wins the darn thing.
These guys just seem unstoppable. Regardless of who their AD carry is, who their support is, who they're subbing in jungle, who the top laner is. They've shown that Faker, Coma, Bengi, the core will always deliver.
And for these guys, they're the consummate professionals. They will celebrate, they will revel in their success, but then they will get back to work, to come back again and look for their 4th World Championship, for their next one. These guys just never stop, and that's why they are the greatest.
And they feel that pressure. They know what it's like to be #1, and they don't take it lightly. They know everybody is chasing them after this point. They know that everybody wants to take their throne, and they won't let them.
SK Telecom T1, the collective emperors of League of Legends, to remain nearly unchallenged as the best League of Legends team of all time. They have deserved this. They've won 3 of the last 4 World Championships. They are the kings. They are the best team we've ever seen, and they will continue to dominate, I have to believe. And that's going to do it for us here on the stream. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you are new to League of Legends, we were happy to help pilot you through this. I hope you stick around and watch more of this amazing esport as it continues to unfold throughout the years. But now we're going to listen into the casters at the Staples Center as we crown our 2016 League of Legends World Champions.
Once again, don the title.
Yeah, the 3rd time they're going to win this championship. You can see how much this means to them. Bengi as well. Just this guy, SKT, struggled in so many games where he wasn't playing, but 6-1 in the games he played from semifinals to finals.
And as we said so many times,